Money in the Bank is done, and like, did we get worked? I don't know. Was that a work? Was that just WWE listening to their fans? I have no idea, but I'm sure it is going to be a hot topic amongst the IWC. But welcome here to my 2025 Money in the Bank review. The Money in the Bank PLE is usually like this giant car crash that you just simply can't look away from because there is so much action happening in that ring. And today, well, it was another car crash. It was very fun to watch. There was lots of high spots, some stuff that I didn't overly love, but we'll get into what I liked and what I didn't like. But for starters, I have to start here right with R-Truth at the very end. At the end of Money in the Bank during John Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, there was a return. It was a massive return, and a return that I simply wasn't expecting. After R-Truth announced that his contract was not being renewed by WWE, it looked like we were losing one of the most beloved wrestlers in WWE history. There was an outcrying of support from both fans and talent, people behind the scenes. Everybody loves R-Truth, which just made tonight feel so incredibly surreal. It's very rare that you have a moment where everybody is chanting for something that they really want. And where this is going to be really difficult to figure out is, was this the plan all along, right? Because R-Truth was just in a feud with John Cena. John Cena did mention that you can't handle the truth on Friday Night SmackDown, and then R-Truth returns to cost John Cena this match, right? It does feel like when you look at it, it was planned all along. But then on the flip side of things, from how many talents reached out when R-Truth was released, from how many people were completely taken back by this man not getting his contract renewed, that part feels very real. That part feels like it actually happened. And this is just WWE listening to the outcry of support from fans and talent saying, we want truth, bring back truth. But whether this was the plan all along or it was just WWE listening to us, it was the right call. And I'm so happy that R-Truth is back. But what's really interesting is he might not actually be going by the name R-Truth. WWE Shop showed this t-shirt and said Ron Killings on it. And then in the post show, they mentioned that exact post that Ron Killings is back, not R-Truth, the former NWA champion Ron Killings, and that dude was a beast. We might actually be seeing a serious version of R-Truth moving forward. And if that's the case, R-Truth to take the title from John Cena, anybody? I don't know how many people would be really upset at that. Like, WWE champion R-Truth kind of has a ring to it. It just goes to show, though, when you are so beloved backstage, when you really do a great job at what you do and you're a nice person to people, people have your back, right? And if R-Truth was in fact released from WWE and then the talent reached out to him and with all that love and support, you just have to think that people went to bat for him backstage in WWE as well, right? R-Truth is so loved, and it's so great to see him back. But let's go back to the start of the show and talk about the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. So out of the gate, I thought that everybody in this match really busted their ass and did everything that they could to put on an entertaining match. And really, truthfully, there was nothing wrong with it. At times, I felt like maybe it was a little clunky and the spots took a long time to set up, but at the end of the day, you just want to make sure you get them done right. It felt also like maybe timing was an issue, people not being in their place at the exact moment that they should have, and as a result, like I said, it just was a little disjointed and it wasn't the smoothest watch. But in terms of action in the ring, in terms of high spots, very, very entertaining. Like at one point we had a dual code red onto some ladders, and you also had a really cool moment at the start of the match where it was like the new generation of Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Stephanie Vaquer versus Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi. Like, that was an awesome way to start the match. It reminded me of like in the Royal Rumble however many years ago where you had this new generation of stars and this old generation of stars in the men's Royal Rumble. I want to say like Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor, John Cena, people like that were a part of it. I can't remember everybody. But it was a really cool moment when that line was drawn and you had the new generation and the old generation standing face to face. And that exact same moment happened to kick off the Money in the Bank ladder match. It was awesome. And credit where credit is due. Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Stephanie Vaquer all killed it in this match. Like Stephanie Vaquer, that devil's kiss to Rhea Ripley on the ladder, insane. And then, of course, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Naomi also showed out in their own ways. I thought Rhea Ripley really looked like $1 million in this match. And I know lots of people don't love Rhea Ripley always being booked super duper strongly and being one of the toughest, baddest women in the division. But She truly is. She really is a beast, and she should never be booked weak, ever, ever, ever. She was awesome in this match. But I know a lot of people were kind of mixed on the ending, and that seems to be the common theme with Money in the Bank tonight. It was like the matches were fun, but the endings, not sure if the right result happened. For me, however, I think Naomi is 1000% the right call, and if you saw the post-show with Naomi, you know how much this means to her. She had tears in her eyes. Like, this is another opportunity to get at that women's world title. And she's had a long career, man. She's really done a great job, but she's never really been the girl. And right now, this character, this Proceed with Caution character with the Money in the Bank briefcase along with her, dude, this could absolutely elevate her to the next level. And we could be looking at a true up-and-coming new women's champion star right here in Naomi. I'm so happy for her. I can't wait to see what the briefcase is going to look like. I hope it's just wrapped up all in that Proceed with Caution tape. It would be so dope. Like a nice little black and yellow Money in the Bank briefcase. Oh, hell yeah. And what I like most about Naomi winning the Money in the Bank briefcase is that this now gives her some longevity and it allows her to move up the card. And when that moment comes, when either Jade wins the title or Bianca wins the title, it is there. It is ready to go. A cash in from Naomi on either one of them would be epic. I can think ahead here right now. I wonder if they do Jade Cargill winning Queen of the Ring. I wonder if Jade Cargill goes on to face Tiffany Stratton. I wonder if Jade Cargill beats Tiffany Stratton and then Naomi cashes in on Jade Cargill. That would be a pretty cool direction to go. But then after that match, we had a match that really wasn't announced going into the show until Worlds Collide, but it was Dominic Mysterio versus Octagon Jr. for the IC title. When this was announced, I had no clue what type of match it was going to be, and I was slightly hoping it was going to be more of a showcase match that allowed Dominic Mysterio to just highlight himself and what he can do in that ring with somebody who can fly around with him. Instead, it was just really a quick match where it gave a bit of a platform to Octagon Jr., highlighted a little bit of AAA, but it was really a nothing match that I don't know if it really belonged on a pay-per-view, to be honest. It was a cool moment, don't get me wrong, but that felt like a Monday Night Raw match. It was almost how they ran Joe Hendry versus Randy Orton, where they just had that surprise moment, but without the surprise, you know what I mean? There was no like open challenge from anybody in AAA for Dominic Mysterio's IC title, which I think would have been a much more interesting route to go, because you could have had literally anybody go after him and it could have been this Octagon Jr. guy, right? Would have been a cool way to debut him. But instead, you revealed it ahead of time and then the match was what, like 4 minutes long? It's really forgettable, but hey, glad to see Octagon Jr. in WWE for a hot minute. Dominic Mysterio did beat him. He pinned him with a frog splash, and that's pretty much all that's noteworthy from the matchup. So on to the next one. And that is Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the women's IC title. And this match was awesome. Oh my goodness, man. Where do we even begin? Like, Lyra Valkyria, incredible. Becky Lynch, awesome at everything that she does. Put the two in the ring together and you got magic. But not only did they create magic, man, they let that match breathe. They told a story. There was a struggle along the way for each of them. And then in the end, Becky Lynch literally stealing the title away from Lyra Valkyria by rolling her up, holding on to the tights. Man, it just a great ending. I know a lot of people, myself included, were thinking Bayley was going to return and maybe she was going to get interjected into this feud, possibly cost Lyra the title by accident or on purpose, or maybe screw over Becky Lynch, or there was something there with Bayley that we simply haven't been able to sink our teeth into yet. And it didn't really progress here at this show, which is fine. What we did get instead is we got the continuation of Lyra versus Becky, and it looks like this is going to potentially culminate at SummerSlam, if not King and Queen of the Ring, but I'm thinking this is a SummerSlam. This is a trilogy of matches, right? And to finish the story of Becky and Lyra, I think you need a big angle going into SummerSlam, and especially with it being 2 nights, like, it kind of belongs on there. But the match in the ring, the back and forth, just their chemistry is so good, and I need to see so much more of Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria together. Like, this cannot be their last match. We need more. Now, after the match, Lyra Valkyria was forced to raise Becky Lynch's hand, and Becky Lynch just kept bringing her back for another. After she raised her hand once, she's like, hey, you got to raise my hand and point me in every direction of the arena. And then after you've done that, now you're going to put the title around my waist. And it looked like for a second, Lyra was actually going to put the championship around Becky Lynch's waist, which she, well, technically she did, but then hit her with a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful German suplex right after that. I don't know. Did I just just have a stroke right there? It sounded like I did. But just a beautiful German suplex attacking Becky Lynch, and that's the right call. Lyra Valkyria needs to stay mad. She needs to be angry. That's what Becky Lynch has awoken in her. And now that she just stole the title away from her, I think Lyra's going to be even more mad. She's going to be big, mad, big bird lady. But then we were on to my favorite car crash of the night, and that was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And like, Jesus, this match was awesome. Truthfully, one of the more entertaining Money in the Bank ladder matches that I can remember, at least within recent history. It was so good. The amount of levels that they had to this matchup, having different types of ladders. Well, I mean, the fireball ladder is one thing, but different sizes of ladders with different people in the matchup that had different dynamics. You had Seth Rollins, who was at all times waiting for potentially Braun to come on out and save the matchup for him. You had LA Knight, who was easily the most popular man in this matchup, but then you had high-flying talent like Penta and Andrade, who just went out there and crushed it. And then you had El Grande Americano doing El Grande Americano things. Like when he leaned that ladder up on the outside of the ring, ran up the ladder, climbed up another ladder only to get slammed off that ladder by LA Knight. Just what a sequence it was. And then Solo Sikoa, man, I think a lot of us had this feeling that the end of Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa was coming, but I didn't personally see this happening in the Money in the Bank match. I thought we were going to get a long, dragged-out program going into King and Queen of the Ring, and then maybe into SummerSlam, where maybe the turn would finally happen. But nah, Jacob Fatu, after hearing the all-gas, no-brains line from Solo on SmackDown, he didn't wait. He knew what he had to do. He had to get that cancer out, and he stopped Solo Sikoa from capturing the Money in the Bank briefcase. This is perfect, man. We now have Jacob Fatu and potentially JC Mateo and Solo Sikoa right there, and then who knows what happens if Tama Tonga Loa are interjected back into this. Like, there is so much potential for storyline to get Jacob Fatu over now as one of the top baby faces, but all I have to say is babyface Fatu has arrived, and man, he's about to make the WWE a lot of money. In the end, it was down to Seth Rollins and LA Knight, who were fighting over that briefcase. LA Knight doing everything that he possibly can to stop Seth Rollins, but it was too little too late, and Seth Rollins walks out as Mr. Money in the Bank. This was probably like the most predictable outcome, because when Paul Heyman tells you it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler, most of the time he actually is telling us outright what is going to happen, and his track record is unlike anything else in WWE. When Paul Heyman tells you this is happening, it's a spoiler, like, it happens. And so going into this match, I had high hopes for LA Knight. I picked LA Knight, but man, like it really did feel like the writing was on the wall for Seth Rollins. We have a world title match on Monday between Jey Uso and Gunther, and Seth Rollins is going to be watching that very, very closely. We might even have a new world champion come Monday. It was his vision. It's the story that's being told. It does add a different dynamic to Seth Rollins' group, and it really does make his group feel stronger because, well, what they say they're going to do, they go out there and do. So you can't really fault WWE for this booking here. Is it the most exciting option? Hell no. I think Seth Rollins can get to the world title without needing the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's Seth freaking Rollins. He doesn't need that title or that briefcase to get the title. But somebody else like LA Knight, Penta, Andrade, El Grande Americano, Solo, they probably could have used the briefcase over Rollins. But with the story that's being told right now, Seth Rollins is the right call based on the story that's happening. It's just not the most exciting pick. And so I know a lot of people were feeling kind of down after the Money in the Bank ladder match as well, because it just simply wasn't the most exciting option, right? But moving forward, the story that is going to be told in the group is now going to have the Money in the Bank briefcase with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Braun Strowman, and Paul Heyman. It's a dynamic that I think will play out well on TV, but it might not last long. Like I said, we might get a new world champion come Monday. And then we're going to go back here to how we started off the show, talking about John Cena, Logan Paul, Jey Uso, and Cody Rhodes. Now, this match here, the first 15 minutes were slow. Oh, it was slow. I don't know if this is just the WWE main event style. I don't know if this is the John Cena style. I don't know if it's the Jey Uso style. I don't know what it is, but man, that took a long time to get going. However, once it did get going, it was very entertaining. Not an in-ring classic by any means, but all four men went out there and really busted their ass. Logan Paul, honestly, especially, Like, I think Logan Paul did the most work out of anybody in that matchup. He had so many high-flying spots. That moonsault from the rope to the table. Oh my God, man. Like, that is crazy. And then, of course, him catching the drone, getting hit with a suplex while handling the drone, and then getting hit with an Uso splash while still holding on to the drone. Just an incredible camera shot. And I think that's one of the best things Logan Paul actually brings to WWE, is such a different take, a different way of looking at things, right? He's a content creator. He understands that there's different ways to do this. And bringing a drone, holding on to it, and getting hit with a superplex is certifiably insane and cool, and I've never, ever seen anything like it. But that was the type of camera shot you would expect to see from just a couple of dudes messing around on a trampoline or something like that, just holding on to a camera, and then all of a sudden a splash comes out of nowhere, right? It was a cool look. Logan Paul crushed in that match. Like, I can't say enough good things about him in that one. Except for the botched buckshot lariat, but that was honestly saved by a super kick pretty quickly after. In the end, though, you already know how this goes. R-Truth returned. He got even with John Cena. He might be known as Ron Killings now. The truth is back. The truth shall set you free. And my goodness, I can't wait to see what's next. But in the end, it was Cody Rhodes pinning John Cena. Cody Rhodes gets even on John, and that must mean we are looking at John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, the rematch, very soon. Could be SummerSlam. It might be. And if Cody loses there, the question then has to be, well, where does Cody go after this, right? Cody could get the title back at SummerSlam. He might. I don't think he will, though. There's also the possibility of CM Punk getting involved with John Cena along the way, but it does feel like he's kind of preoccupied with Seth Rollins. And like we said, if Seth Rollins does cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase, well, then we could maybe see Seth Rollins, CM Punk fighting over that world title at SummerSlam, which was rumored to be the WrestleMania match, before CM Punk got hurt. And that's interesting. You also have to wonder what's next for Logan Paul. Like, is Logan gonna maybe go after John Cena? Like, is that a thing we can see? I know that they were talking about Jey Uso versus Logan Paul, but like, after the disagreement that both John and Logan had, makes you wonder, could that be the match that we get? There's a lot to break down, and I want to know from you guys in the comments section below. So just list all of your thoughts on this show, on Money in the Bank, the directions that we're going, what could come next. What was that a work? Was that like just WWE giving the fans what they want? Literally, this show, it was incredibly fun to watch, some interesting results, and truthfully, a lot of questions coming out of it. Between the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, R-Truth's return, and in just an incredibly solid match between Lara Valkyria and Becky Lynch, I have to give this show a 7.75 out of 10. I wasn't really feeling it going into the last two matches, to be honest with you. I had it at around like a 6.75 to 7 range, but those last two matches really just bumped it up. It should probably almost be in an 8 range, but because of the earlier on stuff, because of I didn't love everything that happened in the matches. It didn't always click the entire way through. I think that that's probably the safe bet. 7.75 out of 10 is my final rating. But of course, that's just one man's opinion, and I want to know yours. So please let me know down in the comments section below. I look forward to reading them. And if you're watching this video here tonight, be sure to go post your hot take over on my Twitter. The tweet is up there. We'll be recording hot takes tomorrow morning so we can know all of your thoughts, all that great stuff. But as always, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and keep coming back right here for lots of daily pro wrestling content. Thanks for watching, everyone. Shout out to Editor Jay for editing this late at night. Love you, bro. Take care. Have yourselves a wonderful night.